I have a very good feeling you don't want to miss this interview. Israeli officials have confirmed they're calling up 60,000 reservists as part of a new phase in its offensive to capture and occupy all of Gaza City. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are expected to be ordered to evacuate and head to shelters as the Israeli military operates in parts of Gaza City where they say Hamas is still active.
88-year-old Holocaust survivor Stephen Kapos says Israel's plans are genocidal and will turn the territory into a concentration camp full of starving people. He joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in to talk to us about this. Describe what happened to you and your family, because, you know, you were torn apart, weren't you, because of the war. So you speak about this today with the perspective of that in the past.
Yeah. Well, I was 7 years old when the Holocaust and the war reached Budapest, my hometown, and the Germans occupied Hungary and Budapest in March 1944. And immediately the position of Jewish people became dramatically worse. It was, in any case, an authoritarian government with a right-wing leader in Admiral Horthy. But when the Germans came in, along with Adolf Eichmann, suddenly the position of all Jews became dramatically worse and dangerous. And they set about, the Nazis set about creating concentration camps, mainly in the countryside. And by June 1944, 400,000 Hungarian Jews from the countryside were transported to Auschwitz, and very few of them came back.
And you had to go into hiding as a child, didn't you? You were separated from your mother, and your father ended up in a concentration camp.
That's correct. This was in October 44 that I had to go into hiding, because at that time the alternate fascist groups, the Arrow Cross Party, took power, and they had marauding militias virtually hunting Jews in Budapest. The deportations, the large-scale deportations, have not included Budapest to begin with. And we realized this was towards the end of the war. And I think that some of the leadership beforehand were beginning to be under international pressure to save the Budapest Jews. But the danger was increasing. We had to wear the yellow star. We had to live in specially marked by large yellow stars buildings. And by 44, it was so dangerous that the family decided that had to go into hiding. And we were all on false names and false papers in various homes, which were sponsored by the Protestant churches and the Swiss Red Cross.
So, Stephen, you know, 7 years old, you're at age, I'm sure you can remember, you've probably got vivid memories.
I do, yes.
And they're probably still with you and live with them every day. So how does it make you feel when you turn on the television now and you see pictures happening in a region, in a place which is so important to you and your culture and your community?
Well, to watch what goes on in Gaza is absolutely horrendous for me. And in lots of ways, the sufferings of the Palestinian people rhymes with the suffering that we had gone on there. As you mentioned, that my family was kind of separated. My mother was in charge of some girls in hiding. The boys were separate. So we went together. And my father was taken in December 44, was taken to Bergen-Belsen. It's a complicated story because it was part of the so-called Kastner project, where this prominent Transylvanian Zionist Rudolf Kapos.
There was an agreement made.
That's
wasn't
right.
There? Yeah.
There was a kind of deal with the Nazis. So my father was taken to Belsen ostensibly to be exchanged in Switzerland, but got stuck there.
But what amazing, hearing you say this, I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel will know all of this. Of course he knows these stories.
Yes.
So it's just bizarre that someone in his position, with the background of Israel and the people of Israel, the stories they have, many people in your position, why do you think he's doing what he's doing? And you've called it a genocide. I mean, but a lot of people have been reluctant to call it a genocide.
Well, I know that, for example, the official Labour position, as I understand it, Keir Starmer's position, is to await the final decision of the international courts, whether it could be called a genocide. That means years of waiting. And under that kind of approach, you could never stop a genocide, because by the time the official words come out, it would be over.
So do you think Netanyahu doesn't care? I mean, he claims it's about trying to get the hostages back and destroying Hamas.
Yes. Yes, well, this has been a false claim, really, because you do not free hostages by bombing. That's absolutely clear to everybody. And I think, I mean, I don't know the details of Israeli politics, but apparently it's more to do with his own survival politically than genuinely...
You think he's just saving his own skin rather than saving...
I mean, the Israeli government has said it doesn't intend to permanently occupy or govern Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu's office has clarified their aim is to establish security control to neutralise Hamas's military capabilities and ensure Gaza doesn't serve as a base for future attacks. But listen, you feel strongly about this. This is something that you want to speak out about, but you do have concerns, don't you, that internationally not enough attention is being paid to what's going on, or not enough being said about it.
That's true, and particularly, I think the whole of West is guilty in a way in not opposing this decisively and strongly enough. Particularly the mass media that has been, if you like, lying by omission in not...
By not giving enough coverage?
Yes, by not being enough coverage, and by the way they give coverage also at times. For example, taking Israeli statements unchallenged as sometimes as truthful, where is their record?
I mean, we do have to often give both sides of the argument, if you like. You know, that is kind of our job to do that. But can I ask you just on what do you think is the consequence of this? What is it doing to Israel as a country? It's a reputation of Israel at a time like this. Does that worry you going forward with everything you've lived through?
Well, I am not a Zionist, and I have not had a particular identification with Israel at any time. I come from a secular Jewish background, and in Hungary in particular, Zionism was never strong. It was always predominantly an intention to integrate and assimilate rather than going to Israel. In fact, in Hungary, the Zionists were a very minor, regarded as extremist group. And so I never had a strong identification.
We are out of time, but I feel like I want to give you the opportunity to address Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. I think somebody in your position, with everything you've been through, I think, what would you say to him and anybody else officially from Israel, there's ambassadors that might be watching this morning or watch this later online, what would be your message to the leaders of Israel right now?
Well, you mentioned ambassador. I watched one particular program of the Security Council meeting where the Israeli spokesperson was about to start speaking and very theatrically put a yellow star on. And it made me feel sick because it was a misuse of the Holocaust.
What would you want them to do next now? What would you be saying?
With somebody who actually had to wear a yellow star.
Yeah.
This was a misused symbolism. And as for Netanyahu, not long ago he made a statement, I think, at Yad Vashem, to say that never again is now. And this is another clear reference to the Holocaust and misuse of the Holocaust. Because those who actually experienced it, never again means something else. It means that never again perpetrating anything like that on any people anywhere.
It's been fascinating to talk to you, Stephen. Thank you so much for coming in to give your perspective this morning.
I want to come and shake your hand and give you a hug. Because it's just amazing what you've been through. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Absolutely incredible.